This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the software testing and what would be the role of PA in the software. And more importantly, we will talk about the various terminology that is used as part of the software testing activity, like the various terms that we generally come across. Because the reason being, one of the stages where the BA would be actively involved, apart from the requirement stage, that is during the testing stage of the STLC. So the BA would be sometimes reviewing, preparing the test scenarios and also preparing the user acceptance testing, doing the user acceptance testing, and also like reviewing the test scenarios for the completeness of the testing activity. So in terms of like whether all the requirements are getting covered for testing. So all the review process that would be done by the business analyst. So like as part of your experience when we put down in your resume, so you need to put some understanding about the software testing as well, and also the VA would be actively involved in the user acceptance testing of the application. And other thing is the BA would be coordinating the testing activity all throughout the testing life cycle. So when we talk about software testing, so there is a, as per ISTQB, the testing is done. It is a process of executing a program on an application with the intent of finding the bugs in the application. The idea is to find the bugs in the application. It is a process of executing a program on an application with the intent of finding the bugs in the application. The idea is to find the bugs in the application. When you look at the different terminology with regards to software testing, so these are the few terms which are very much widely used. So we look at these terms and try to get the understanding of these all these terms. Bug or a defect, test plan, test scenario, test case, and defect life cycle, and various testing types functional testing, system testing, and user acceptance testing. Functional, system, and user acceptance testing. Bug or a defect, test plan, test scenario, test case, and defect life cycle, and various testing types. Under various testing types, you have like functional testing, system testing, and user acceptance testing. Functional, system, and user acceptance testing. So, what is a bug or a defect? So, when we talk about a bug or a defect, a bug is nothing but anything that is not working as expected, as per the specification. That is when we call it as a bug. That is when we call it as a bug. It means that the system is supposed to work in certain way. If it is not working, so that is when we call it as a bug in the system. So the test, what does that tester will do? They will raise a issue in the system, like whether they use Jira tool or any other tool, the quality center or any other test management tool. So based on that, they would be raising a bug in the system. Once it is raised, that will be assigned to the developer. So the developer would be trying to reproduce the issue. So once they could reproduce the issue, and if it is considered genuine, if the issue is considered genuine, in that case, so that is called as a defect. That is known as a defect. So bug is something which is raised by the tester, while the defect is something which is accepted by the developer, which is as genuine, like genuine in the sense that it could be an issue, but maybe already another similar issue is raised, or maybe the same issue is raised by someone else. That is when it is called as a duplicate defect. Or sometimes what happens is like the system behavior is such that, so like though it is accepted behavior, so that is when, so they say that okay, it is a like accepted behavior, it is not a bug at least. So once it is accepted as genuine issue, that is when it is called as a defect. Then we have test plan documentation. So test plan is a documentation actually. So before the start of testing activity, the testing team would prepare a test plan document. test plan document. So what does test plan document consist of? So when you talk about test plan document, it will consist of various entries, especially the major ones are, so what are the training needs for the testing team? So especially before the starting of the testing activity, right? So during that point of time, the testing team must be very much new to the organization or the product. So during that point of time, so what are the training needs for the testing team? And what is the entry criteria? So when to start the testing activity for this application? And what is the exit criteria? So the criteria should be mentioned. And what would be the process for a defect, how to raise, and what would be the process? And so what should be the percentage of invalid defect? So generally, there is a limitation for the percentage of invalid defect. The team cannot raise more invalid issues because it will consume the developers valuable time. So that's the reason why there is basically a limitation that, okay, so the percentage should be somewhere between 5 to 15%, not more than that. The percentage of invalid defect should not be more than 5 to 15%. So that's what is basically defined as part of a test plan documentation. So that would be created once at the start of the testing activity. So once it is agreed upon between the service provider and the customer. So generally, for example, if HSBC Bank want like um, they what I can say, if they delegate the testing to another organization like Accenture or TCS or Wipro, so obviously their testing resources would be working with HSBC application for testing activity. So initially, when the testing about to start, they agree upon this test plan. So we go by this plan. This is a master, the set of rules and guidelines that are defined. So based on that, the teams will work. So this is an agreed upon document between the service provider and the service provider and the customer or the client. So then coming to a test scenario. So what is a test scenario? So when you talk about test scenario, a test scenario is a high level case, more often a positive case, where we incorporate a particular business requirement. Where we incorporate a particular business requirement. A test scenario is a high level case, more often a positive case, where we incorporate a particular business requirement. Defining the scenarios is to test the end to end functionality of a requirement. Defining the scenario is to test the end to end functionality of a requirement. So the preparation of scenarios for testing would be the most important part. High level scenarios are prepared by the BA and also provides sign off on the test script and also provides the sign off on the test script. So when we talk about a test scenario, it is defined at a high level, which means that it is defined at a requirement level or a feature level. It is defined at a requirement level or a feature level, where we incorporate a particular business requirement. Where we incorporate a particular business requirement. Defining scenarios is to test the end-to-end functionality of a requirement. It is to test the end-to-end functionality of a requirement. The preparation of scenarios for testing would be the most important part. High-level test scenarios are prepared by the BA and also provides a sign-off on the test script. Sign-off is nothing but approval. Approval on the test script. So we look at example here, a set of examples here. So let's say we are testing a banking application. Application under test is the banking system, internet banking system. Module is personal banking module. Module is personal banking module. If you have to write the scenarios for the personal banking module, so if you look at the scenarios here, scenario 1 is test the launching of the personal banking application. The moment you put www.hsbc.in, sorry, hsbc.com, so how the screen is going to open and what are all the various elements and how the various elements are laid out. So that should be basically covered as part of testing in scenario 1. And scenario 2 is about test the login operation, the login activity. So login into the personal banking, like personal banking module. Login into the personal banking module. Test the login operation. Test the balance inquiry feature. So the balance inquiry is one of the major features of the banking system. So one of the scenario is to test the balance inquiry. Test the funds transfer functionality. Test the detailed report generation, etc. Now, if you see all of these things, these are, if you have to put it from the requirement perspective, these are all the requirements. So if I have to put it in requirement perspective, the user should be able to launch the personal banking application by entering www.hsbc.com. The user should be able to log into the system in the personal banking module. The user should be able to check the balance of accounts. The user should be able to transfer the funds from one account to another account. So obviously, these are the requirements. These are the requirements, are features of the system, the features of the system. When you translate it, so from the testing perspective, these are the test scenarios as well. So that is why if you see the statement here, the scenario is a high level case, may more often a positive flow where we incorporate a particular business requirement. So the scenario is written at a the requirement level or business requirement level. And also we don't have any data here in terms of like how to log into the system, what are the username and password, and all the details are not presented here. All those details are not presented here. So obviously that is not the stage here. The stage is at somewhere at at a different level. We also provide the data, but at this stage we are covering on a high level net what are all the features, what are all the things that the team is going to test. So that's where the scenarios are defined at a high level. Is that clear? Any questions so far?
So the test scenario is only going with the expected result, right?
Okay, so the expected result is also not required for the test scenario. Okay, so when we go to the test case level, the next level where more detailed thing, so during that point of time, you need to be putting all the details like what is the test data and what are the test steps that you are going to do, and all that would be expected results and actual results, all would be part of the test case. Here it is not required, so you can probably put it in an Excel sheet or maybe in a the Word document that okay, these are the scenarios we would be covering as part of the testing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So moving on to the test case level. So the test case is the next level of information where the test case defines one part of the requirement that gets tested under a scenario. One part of the requirements that get tested under a scenario. A test case will have test data, preconditions, expected results, and post conditions. Preconditions, expected results, and the post condition. A test case will have test data, preconditions, expected results, and the post conditions. Expected results and the post conditions. Test case acts as a starting point for test execution, and after applying a set of input values, the application has a definitive outcome, which is called as an expected behavior. After applying set of input values and after doing the steps that are defined, so the outcome that you are going to get is basically called as the expected behavior. So sorry, the outcome that we expect is called as the expected behavior. And the test case can be used to test the positive or negative flow. Now while test scenario some is basically used for defining the positive cases, while the test scenario while the test case is to test the positive or a negative flow. It is to test the positive or a negative flow. So that means that you can create the test cases, positive test cases as well as the negative test cases. Moving on to sample test case template. So rather than looking at this one, Okay, let's have a quick look at this one, and also the template, the complete template part. A test case will have all these details. Every test case will have the test case ID, the test case name or the title, the test case description, so the description of what is being tested, and the test case name also on a name wise. So what is the name of the test case, and precondition, what would be the condition of the system before running the test case, and test steps for executing the test case, steps for executing the test case, and test data, like test input data. So what are the data that we are going to give to the system? Test input data, expected results, the expected behavior, actual result after executing the steps, what would be the test results, and test result after test case execution, and after comparison of expected and actual values, whether you are passing the test case or failing the test case, whether you are passing the test case or failing the test case. So that would go under a sample test case template. Now if you, sorry, sample test case. The post condition, so what would be the condition after running the test case, and remarks, anything, comments, and defects column for detailing the issue details, and the defects column for detailing the issue detail. Now if you look at the complete template here, so this is the complete template where you have all the details. Project name, under project name you have the test case ID. Every test case has to be represented with a unique identification number, and test priority, low, medium or high priority. Again, it's a very important thing, especially when there is an urgent release, you need to test quickly the application. So during that point of time you may not be able to test all of the stuff, so that's when the priority is going to be key. So based on the priority, only the high priority test cases would be picked up for testing. And module name, corresponding to which module this particular test case related to. Is it related to personal banking module? Is it related to the corporate banking, international banking, or payments, or credit cards, or whatever? So the module, and then test title. So what is the title of the test case, and then description of the issue, like what is being tested here, what is the description, and test designed by, the name of the person, the test design date, the date when it is created. So these are all things very important. The designed by is very important, and the design date, and test executed by, the test execution date. So because one test case may be executed multiple times, if it is a part of regression, if the test case is part of regression, so that needs to be tested, run every time. So when every time it is run, so obviously the test executed by, the test executed date, this will change. Okay, anyway, test designed by and design date will not change, but executed by, execution date will change based on whether the test case is part of the regression or not. Then precondition, so what should be the condition of the system before running the use case? User has valid username and password. So this is one valid precondition. And dependencies, if at all, if there are any, so that would be mentioned here. And test steps, so these are the main things that would be done. These steps would be executed to see the results. So when we talk about the test steps, so we have the n number of steps, and there is test data, the test input data, like what are the input data that we are giving to the system, expected result, that is expected behavior, actual result, so that is going to be the actual behavior, so once the testing is done, and status, the expected and actual is compared, and either pass or fail the test case, pass or fail the test case, and any specific notes that is mentioned in the other section. So if there is any specific things that you want to highlight, so that would be mentioned in the note section. And then we talk about the post condition. The post condition is nothing but what would be the condition of the system after running the test case, after running the test case. So what would be the post condition of the system? So that way, when we talk about the sample test case template, So it has all the details: ID, priority, module name, the test title, and the test description, the test designed by, the test design date, test executed by, the test execution date, precondition, any dependencies if at all any, and test steps and test data, expected result, the actual result, and status whether you pass or fail the test case, and any specific notes. And you have the post condition, and you have the post condition. All that should be part of a test case template. Is that clear?
Yes.
Others?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, right. So moving on to a defect life cycle. So from the time a defect is raised till it gets closed, what are all the stages in which a test case will pass through? What are all the stages in which a test case will pass through? So that we call it as the defect life cycle. That we call it as the defect life cycle. So from the time a defect is raised till the time it gets closed, what are all the stages in which it will pass through? That would be part of a life cycle of a defect. So once it is raised, it will be in new status, or in some cases it will be in the open status, new or open status, and then new to in progress. Once the developer starts working on the issue, then it will be moved to in progress status. It will be moved to in progress status. Move to in progress status. So from in progress, if it is a duplicate issue, or if it is an invalid issue, in that case the developer will reject that issue. That is when the status will be moved to the rejected status. If it is rejected, that is final thing. And if it is a valid issue but need not to be fixed at this point of time, and decided by the project manager not to fix it at this point because of rather important things that are pending, so that is when the issue can be deferred to maybe next release or next release or next cycle, whatever. So that is when the status will be moved to deferred status. That is when the status would be moved to deferred status. So from new in progress, then if it is like a genuine issue and which got fixed, that is when the status is moved to test status. So that is when the status is moved to the test status. That means it is ready for the testing activity. That means it is ready for the testing activity. And once it is in testing, so that will be assigned to the tester. The tester would pick it up and they start testing the application. The tester would pick it up and start testing the application. So if it is working fine, that is when the status would be moved to verified status. That's when the status would be moved to verified status. If it is not working for some reason, the challenges, that is when the status would be moved to reopen status. The status would be moved to reopen status and assigned back to the developer. And assigned back to the developer. Assigned back to the developer. So that's when the status will be moved to the reopen status. So once it is reopened, the developer again will put it in progress status and try to see what is the issue and then fix it. Again they will move it to test status. Again they will move it to the test status. And from verified status, so if everything is like fine, from the verified status, the piece of code would be implemented in the final systems. That is when the status would be moved to the close status. That is when the status would be moved to the close status. So that way, if you look at the defect life cycle, from the time a defect is initiated till the time a defect is closed, so it passes through all these different stages. It passes through all these different stages. Is that clear? Now moving on to the types of testing. So when it comes to the types of testing, there are a number of types of testing that would be conducted on the application. So basically, there are many apart from these, but the major ones are for any application. The major types of testing that would be done on the application are these: functional testing, system testing, the regression testing, the user acceptance testing of the application, and you have the performance testing of the application. Functional, system, regression, the user acceptance testing, and the performance testing of the application. So what does functional testing mean? What does system testing mean? And what does regression testing means? The user acceptance testing means, and performance. So when we talk about functional testing, the functional testing, it is a quality assurance process that bases its test cases on the specifications of the software component under test. It is a quality assurance process that bases its test cases on the specifications of the software component under test. It is a type of black box testing technique. The functional testing means testing the application against the business requirement. Testing the application against the business requirement. It is conducted to cover the functionalities defined in a specification document. So when we talk about the functional testing, it is to test the new functionalities that are implemented in a system, the new features that are implemented in a system. It is a quality assurance process that bases its test cases on the specifications of the software component under test. So that means that whatever are the new features of the system, those features would be tested as part of the functional testing. So the new features or the new functionalities are the component that is under development. It is a type of black box testing technique. So when we talk about the types of testing, majorly we can divide into the black box and white box testing. So what is meant by black box and what is meant by white box? So black box is nothing but for the testing team, the application is a kind of black box. They don't need to worry about what is the programming language, what is the underlying logic for implementation. All those things are not very important for the testing team. For them, they need to know about the functionalities of the system, the features of the system, how the system should work. They need to know the requirements of the system. They don't need to care about what is the underlying technology, what is the underlying logic with which this is implemented. Now, it's a quality assurance process. When we talk about a black box testing, for the testing team, the system is a kind of black box. The functional testing means testing the application against the business requirement. Testing the application against the business requirement. So, testing the application against the requirements that are under development. So, it is conducted to cover the functionalities defined in the specification document, one and the same. So, when we talk about black box, there is something also called as the white box testing. So, when we talk about the white box testing, the developer, whatever the testing done by the developers, like whether it is unit testing or the integration testing, so that we call it as the white box testing. By knowing the internal structure of the application, internal logic of the application, obviously the developers are the ones who create it and who know it, how the internally the logic is implemented. By knowing that, the application would be tested. So that is when it is called as a white box testing. The unit testing or integration testing, so that comes under white box testing techniques. While you see the functional testing or system testing or regression testing, these are all the black box testing techniques which are conducted by the testing team without knowing the without worrying about the internal structure of the application. So when we talk about the types of functional test cases, so majorly you have two types of test cases: positive functional test cases and negative functional test cases. Positive functional test cases and negative functional test cases. So when we talk about positive functional test cases, this testing carry exercising the application function with valid input and also verifying that outputs are correct. This testing carry exercising the application function with valid input and also verifying that the outputs are correct. And negative functional testing does mean that it involves exercising the application functionality using a combination of invalid inputs, some unexpected operating condition, and some other out of bound scenarios. So in negative functional testing or negative testing, we give the negative values to the system. Exercising the application functionality using a combination of invalid input, some unexpected operating conditions, some other out of bound scenarios. So that type of testing is called as the negative functional testing or the negative functional test or the negative functional test. Then we talk about the system testing. So that's about the functional testing. Any questions so far? Any questions on functional testing?
No.
Others?
No.
Okay. All right. So moving on to the next one, that is called as system testing, or we can also call it as the system integration testing. The system testing or the system integration testing. So when we talk about system testing or system integration testing, it is a black box testing technique, as I mentioned already. So this is also a black box testing technique. Performed to evaluate the completeness of the system, the system's compliance against the specified requirement. In system testing, the functionalities of the system are tested from end-to-end perspective. The functionalities of the system are tested from end-to-end perspective. System testing usually carried out by a team that is independent of the development team in order to measure the quality of the system unbiased. So that type of testing is called as the system testing. So functional testing or system testing are one and the same. Some organizations call it as functional testing, some organizations call it as system testing or system integration testing also. So only difference we can see is in system testing, the test cases are more written from end-to-end perspective. In system testing. The functionalities of the system are tested from end-to-end perspective. It is usually carried out by a team that is independent of the development team in order to measure the quality of the system unbiased. The system testing is usually carried out, even functional testing, system testing, regression testing is usually carried out by a team that is independent of the development team. Obviously, like if the developer tests the same application, whatever that they have developed, obviously they won't be finding out the issues. The reason being, they would be more biased towards saying like whatever that they have defined, that is working fine. And again, the perspective is very important. The tester's perspective is always to break the system, and again, they would be testing the application more from the requirement perspective, more from the functional requirements perspective. So that's where the independent testing team has to be doing the testing of the application. Then moving on to the regression testing. So what is meant by regression testing? So the purpose of regression testing is to confirm that a recent program or code change has not adversely affected the existing features. Has not adversely affected the existing features of the system. The purpose of regression testing is to confirm that a recent program or code change has not adversely affected the existing features of the system. It is nothing but full or partial selection of already executed test cases, which are re-executed to ensure the existing functionalities work fine. The regression testing is nothing but full or partial selection of already executed test cases, which are re-executed. This testing is to make sure the new code changes should not have side effects on the existing functionalities of the system. The new code changes should not have side effects on the existing functionalities of the system. So obviously, the regression testing is to test the existing features, while your functional testing and system testing are done to test the new features of the system, while your regression testing is done to test the existing features. For example, if you take the example of WhatsApp, so WhatsApp has many features and which are built over a period of time. Video calling, audio calling, and photo sharing and audio sharing, and then you have the text messages and group text and all that. So these are the existing features. Tomorrow, like in case if they are implementing a payments feature, WhatsApp payment, they're implementing it. So your functional testing and system testing would be done to test the payments feature, while your regression testing is done to test all these existing features like audio calling, video calling, the sharing of the photos, audio file, video files, and so on. So that is known as the regression testing of the application. That's known as the regression testing of the application. The purpose of regression testing is to make sure the recent program or code change should not have side effects on the existing functionalities. Now, what kind of test cases can be picked up for regression? So obviously, when you have to test the complete application with all the features, obviously it would take quite a lot of time. So obviously, there is a subset of test cases that would be picked up as part of the regression. So that means that for functional testing, let's say 100 test cases are written for testing the functionality or the new features, out of which maybe 10 to 15 test cases would be picked up for regression. So as less as possible, but make sure that all the major things are covered. So that's why a part of the functional test cases only picked up into the regression. So what would be the basis for it? So that's what presented here. The test cases related to areas which have frequent defects. The test cases related to areas which have frequent defects, functionalities which are more visible to the users, more appealing to the users, test cases which verify the core features of the product, the core features of the system, test cases of functionalities which has undergone more and recent changes, boundary value test cases, sample successful test cases, and sample failure test cases. Sample successful test cases and sample failure test cases. So when we pick up the test cases for regression, we need to pick up the issues which have frequent issues, areas which have frequent issues, functionalities which are more appealing to the users, the front end system, the front end GUI screen, which verify the core features of the application, test cases of functionalities which has undergone more and recent changes, like the recent past, whatever the features that are implemented. With regards that, those test cases need to be part of the regression. Boundary value test cases, the test cases which test the boundaries in terms of the values, the inputs. So those need to be tested. Sample successful test cases and sample failure test cases. The sample successful test cases and the sample failure test cases. So all these should be part of the regression testing of the application. All these types of tests would be part of the regression pack. So since obviously the regression will be will have thousands and thousands of test cases, it is not possible to execute it manually if the number of test cases are more. So obviously for that reason, for running the regression test, the automation scripts are needed. The automation tools like Selenium, QTP, like Cucumber, there are different automation tools. Those tools would be used to run the automation packs or the regression tests. So for example, our application has 20,000 regression tests and we follow Agile. And every time we do a release, we can't run all the tests and we can't run it manually because 20,000 tests, it cannot be run. It is not possible to run manually. So what do we do? So based on the changes going on, so based on that, we would be running the QTP tests, like automation tests, which are basically done through the QTP. So the team would be running only a subset of test cases based on the changes implemented. So that way our team, our testing team, would be running only the tests which are relevant for that particular like functionality that is under development activity. So that way, like there are tools used to for doing the automation testing of the application. Is that clear? Any
Kiran,
questions?
I have a doubt.
Yeah,
Do we have to do the regression testing after every CR?
not CR. For CR, if it is a CR, it is basically based on the impact analysis. The impacted module or the impacted functionalities need to be tested, but not the complete regression of the things. As I'm mentioning, right? So based on the features which are under development, so based on the impact, so obviously we would be knowing that. So what could be impacted because of the new functionality change or the functionality change. So based on that, only those modules need to be tested as part of the regression. So if you have more test cases, have little less test cases, there should not be a problem running all the tests once, because anyway automation tool, you can click on a run button and obviously it will run overnight and you'd be getting the results. But for change request, it is not necessary to run all the tests. Based on the impact analysis, only the impacted modules need to be tested as part of regression.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So with this, I'm going to stop here for today. Like the battery is draining. We'll catch up tomorrow and we'll discuss further the remaining part of the user acceptance testing and the performance testing. And we'll take about the non-functional requirements, or like maybe the UML diagrams in the next session. All right. Thank you so much and see you tomorrow.